to the ADNA Presents. This is Roy Samuelson. Everything is a choice. How you spend your time, how you show up for your family, how you step into your work, and your purpose. So today's guest is someone who knows what it means to take the driver's seat in life because he's done it himself. So he went from coaching basketball to becoming one of the youngest YMCA executives in the country to now leading change through coaching, consulting, and the TAD Foundation. So his journey is about helping others stop drifting and start designing lives of clarity, intention, and impact. So the TAD Foundation, that's named after the founder's late father, carries forward a powerful belief that blindness is not an obstacle to success. With millions of visually impaired people facing a 75% unemployment rate, his mission is to unlock opportunity, change perception, and ensure that blind talent shines across the business landscape. He's a builder of leaders, a champion of possibility, and a believer that today you can do anything. Please welcome the Executive Director of the TAD Foundation, Paul Conley. Thanks for joining us, Paul.
Wow. You know how to make somebody feel good.
It feels good to be able to read it. I'm so glad to have you on the podcast.
Yeah.
Let's start by asking what you love about audio description.
I think what I love about it is that it allows individuals who wouldn't be able to read a book, for example, or something of that nature, to be able to get the same knowledge. I mean, really levels the playing field of what is possible for individuals. And my experience is mainly with individuals who are blind. So it really allows them to gain the same knowledge that we all do by doing one of my favorite things, which is reading.
That's great connection. I love that. When you talk about possibilities, I think about opportunity, I think about barriers, and I guess bridging the gap between the two. What does possibility mean for you?
Yeah, I think that it's such an open question. It's that there's so many things that we can go down, so many different routes we can go down, good and bad. But there's, when you take action towards something that you want, then it's possible. That's what excites me every day, is when you wake up with what could happen today mindset, what is possible, and really allow yourself to find out what is possible. How could I do this? That's what it means.
I love that openness. I think about sometimes in my own career pursuits, I'm a sighted person, and the kinds of barriers that I face are completely different than blind and low vision individuals just because of the culture and the nature of what's going through. And I find myself having a focus of, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And it's that very structured, almost brittle approach that is, I think, in contradiction to how you wake up. That when you talk about the open question, I think about how, okay, there's choice, there's directions to go. I'm going to combine all of this to ask you, when you think about those different branches that you take throughout the day, the different choices that you make, how are those choices maybe different than what you've seen that blind and low vision individuals are challenged with just because of the nature of society here?
Yeah, I'll answer that in two ways. I think number one, I'm also sighted. So I think I often, since I started doing this work with individuals who are blind, I've put myself in their position sometimes. So I'll close my eyes sometimes to try to do a task. And it's very challenging, obviously. And I think that there really comes down to, at the core, people are going to make a decision. And whatever their circumstance is in life, all of us have had to overcome obstacles. Some are much larger, some are disabilities, some are poor situation when they were a child, where they grew up, all of these things that we have to overcome. And you can either really allow it to define who you are and where you're going, or you can just allow it to be part of who you are and what makes you special. So I think that I talk with a lot of the individuals in the program, we're working on career development. And one of the things I mentioned to somebody the other day was, we were talking about a networking event. And I said, here's the one thing, if you were to start writing down the positive of being an individual who's blind, is if you go to a networking event and it's me, I'm not going to be as memorable to the average person. But if you're the only individual who's blind at a networking event and you have a conversation with somebody, nobody's going to forget that. Nobody's going to be like, I don't remember. I remember briefly talking to that person. They're going to remember their conversation. It's going to be a really good conversation and impactful.
It's just because of the different experience based on sighted versus blind and low vision. Is that the distinction?
Yeah, I think that so many times the sighted individuals have very limited interaction with somebody who's blind. So it's gonna stick out. It's gonna be memorable.
Going back to that open question of starting the day off, that what can happen, that openness, was that something that's always been a part of your career? Was there a time when that excuse me, was there a time where that mindset shifted from maybe another way of thinking to that openness, that sense of possibility?
Yeah, I think as a kid I had it. And then I think as I got into teenage years and even into my early 20s, I lost it a little bit of from the wake ups. I always hit snooze. I was always running late, those kinds of things. And it was actually an event, and somebody spoke about a book called The Morning Miracle. Then and the one thing it helped me do was stop hitting snooze, which is a simple thing that I just started doing. And I have been better for it. I enjoy mornings. I also found that like I'm somebody who likes to work out. So most mornings I work out first thing in the morning. Now it's changed a little bit since we had our son. Sometimes I've got him in the morning. We still try to do something active and fun in the morning because if you're dreading what you're doing first thing in the morning, it's going to be hard to get out of bed. But if you're excited about something doing first thing in the morning, much easier.
I'm thinking about the approach in my 20s of my entire life has to change before I can get to anything. And for you to talk about the morning miracle, something as specific as a slight change in your daily life, stopping the snooze button in this example, and combining that with the emotional, hey, I'm looking forward to something, that excitement that you mentioned versus dreading. Those two very specific things, a slight adjustment to your lifestyle, along with a different attitude of something to look forward to instead of something to dread. That sounds like almost too simple and too easy.
I think most of the things that people are looking for are yeah, I think that we try to make it so complex. When I reach X amount of dollars, when I get this job, whatever, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be satisfied. I think that most people, you are who you are when you get to that level. You're not, it might be a short term incremental change, but you are who you are until you change the things that get there. It's going to be, oh, once I get this job, yeah, for about 3 months. And then you're going to be looking for that next thing. And then it's going to be when I get there, or when I get to this level of money in my bank account, or when I get married or whatever. If you just work on, I'm going to choose to be happier, a little bit happier today than I was yesterday. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have days where you're unhappy, you're irritable, you're not your best self. It's not about getting eliminated. No, I don't think you ever eliminate them fully, but can you get it from, hey, I'm miserable every day to I'm miserable only half the days. I'm happy half the days. And then maybe it's, oh, I haven't had a bad day in about a month. Okay, that happened today. I'm a little off today. Okay. I guess I'll get it tomorrow. Or man, what did I do to change how I'm feeling? For me, it's simple. And I think it's for a lot of people, it's movement, it's my diet, it's how I'm sleeping. If I do those three things fairly well, most of the time I'm in a pretty good headspace and pretty happy. And I think that's for most people.
Let's connect some dots. You briefly mentioned a little bit about the networking events and how blind or low vision individuals can stand out in not a negative spotlight, but a memorable. How do we get from your approach, from stopping snooze button to going into the YMCA position to now TAD Foundation? Is that too many leaps to discuss in one podcast? I assume
No,
it is.
I don't know if it is. I think at the core, each of those roles has been around developing people and organizations. They've just shifted what we're doing with the work I'm doing with the TAD Foundation. It's not something I anticipated doing, but when I realized that there was an opportunity to both help a nonprofit really in its startup phase, and then also one of my best skills is coaching leaders. And this is a really cool opportunity because I'm working with people who are mainly in college, but early in career at the very least. And the number one thing that we have to work on is confidence and planning and goal setting and accountability. Those are the things that doesn't matter if it's a CEO or somebody in there looking for their first internship. The ability to believe that you can do it, making sure that you take the necessary steps and follow the steps to do it, those are pretty much the same.
Well, I'm thinking about the those skills, confidence, goal setting, and accountability. Those skills aren't necessarily taught in trade schools or necessarily a college course. I'd imagine that those are especially unique when it comes to what the TAD Foundation is doing. How receptive was the TAD Foundation to your approach to this leadership?
I don't think it was necessarily my approach at all. I think it's the organization. It's the way we've set things up. And it's right in line with what our board and founder wanted to do. And I just think I was the right person to help deliver it and just somebody who believes in the things. So I think that that's the big thing is that I think so many people in general, but especially individuals who are blind, been told a lot about what they can't do. And it's, I think the difference we make with individuals is we're trying to tell them what we can do. And it's not, oh, you can do anything, because that's not the reality. I mean, you have to have a plan. You have to have some skills to get there. You have to have some experience to get to the next level. But and we believe that you can get to where you want to go in most situations. It just might not be as fast as you want to go. You can't skip steps. It doesn't matter who you are. You can't skip the steps. If you want to, if we have a student, and we don't have this, but if we have a student that said, hey, I want to, my first job out of college, I want to be a VP at a Fortune 500 company. All right, let's back this up a little bit. We're not saying you can't get there. It's just not going to be day one. Like, how do we get there? But there's probably 10 steps that happen before that. Let's work on step one first.
I love it. There's a lot of parallels to audio description performance as well as audio description producing, the many roles within audio description that really align with what you're talking about. If I were to ask what specifically TAD Foundation does, like what is the work specifically in developing those skills, in getting that accountability or confidence or goal setting?
Yeah, I think it's continual. And what I mean by that is it's not just, hey, we do this one thing. We've got a list of 30 things, for example. We want the students to be able to do by the time they get their internship in May. We start our program in September. We end in May. So we do 4 in-person weekends. They're very immersive workshops around professional development broadly. And then I work with each individual, in small groups to be able to expand what they're able to do and really troubleshoot their areas of need. So it's not like a one size fits all. This is exactly what we do. At the end of the day, we have like a list of 20 or 25 or 30 things that every professional needs during that first internship, first job, all of those things, email etiquette, how to make sure that you can properly word a document, how to do a solid resume, how to be able to interview at a really high level. Those are things that, okay, great. These individuals are blind, but these are things that every high achieving student that wants really a high successful career needs to be able to do. So we just do it in a niche environment. We really push, and I push the students in particular that I'm not going to hold their hand through these things because the world's not, their employer is not. So we have to be you have to be able to be solution oriented to be able to solve this, but we do all of that. But I think the most important things we do are we connect them to people who are doing what they want to do. So if they want to be an attorney, we connect them with a blind attorney so that they can help show them the pathway of how to do it, how to navigate this, and really show them that, yeah, I know you've been told you can't do this your whole life, but you can. Here it is. I'm proof positive.
What a great answer. I love I love connection and how that aligns so well with a lot of what we've been talking about in the podcast, specifically in audio description. When I think about the TAD Foundation and where it's headed, it's incredibly exciting and positive, and back to that open possibilities that we started off talking about. I'm curious what happening in TAD Foundation, maybe for the next rest of this year or the next year. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I think the number one thing, we've grown our cohort, we've doubled since our inception. So year one, we had 13. This year, we're around 26, and we're still highly selective. I think there's a couple of things that I'm most focused on. Ensuring that any person who is interested in a private sector career, Fortune 500 type career, that has the ability to be at that level, knows that we exist. That's number one. I don't think enough people know that we exist. And then we have an application process, and we're going to pick 30 to 50 best people to be in our program. I think we're going to be able to expand that this year. I think probably 30 to 50, somewhere in there is our sweet spot. But really, the only thing that matters in our entire organization has to be focused on one singular thing, and that's making sure that students have internships and jobs. So we have a lot of undergraduate students where internship is the next logical step in their career. And then we have a lot of individuals that are headed towards their senior year or postgraduate where a full-time role makes the most sense. If we can't achieve that, then nothing else we do matters. So really making sure that they're prepared, and also putting them in opportunities, and they do the work. We're just here to help and support. Yeah, I can't apply for a job for somebody. I can't do the interview, but we can help them navigate that and push them when you get 12 rejections and 20 rejections. I had told somebody the other day, I said, good. You only need one person to say yes. You don't want two jobs. You don't want two full-time jobs. You don't want zero. So we just need one. It's like getting married. You don't necessarily need two spouses. You just need the one.
Gotcha. Said. When it comes to this entire conversation, we've really scratched the surface and also gone really deep. I'm wondering about anything that we haven't covered yet that you'd love to share with our audience.
Yeah, I think the one thing is that we're working towards doing it. If you have two individuals, and one is, and if their resumes are similar, they've both gotten to the same point, and one person is, and the other individual is blind. I just want everybody to think about the fact what that person had to overcome, how they had to problem solve, and what they will be willing to do and are able to do. That did this, myself, you, anybody that's studied has had to overcome to get to that exact same spot. We've never asked anybody to hire somebody because they're blind. I never want that. I want to make sure that people see this as the talented workforce that it is. It's overlooked for obvious reasons. There, it's not that hard to employ someone that's blind. It's not. Technology is really assisted in this, and we just encourage people to interact, to understand, and then hopefully you get a really good quality, high quality candidate.
How can we follow you? Social media, your organization, links?
Yeah, we're on pretty much all social medias, TAD Foundation. Yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Yeah, we're on there for fairly active. If there's anybody out there that's listening that wants to support and being a mentor, there's 3 ways that people can really support. It's being a mentor to one of our students, pretty low commitment time-wise, but really high impact deliverable, job opportunities, internship and job opportunities. And then finally, we only are as successful as our funding allows. We're always encouraging individuals to support if it makes sense for them.
Thanks so much. I'm going to find a way to take out my snooze button.
There we go.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you joining us, Paul. Thank you.